questions, so we're going to have only a few questions. Please, after that, yes, please. Please identify yourself also. Yes, Adil sir, please identify yourself and then ask the question.
When you were in school.
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म इमरान खान पाकिस्तान ब्रेकफास्ट एट डावोस की तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे थे और हम कारोबारी शख्सियात इस तकरीब में मौजूद हैं और अपनी गुफ्तगू के दौरान जो वो कारोबारी शख्सियात से कर रहे थे उनका ये कहना था कि डावोस एक ऐसा फोरम है
I am a member of the Parliament Highway and I am the first Pakistani to won election in Germany with zero chance, with zero opportunity, with zero money and then with about 80,000 votes. My question is, Pakistan गवर्नमेंट के पास कोई ऐसी प्लान है कि जो दुनिया में जो भी पाकिस्तानी जो इस एबिलिटी रखते हैं कि वो एक ऐसे नेटवर्क में आए वो पाकिस्तान के लिए मेरा ख्याल ये है तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं हम कुछ बना सकते हैं क्या गवर्नमेंट का ऐसा प्लान है तो जो बाहर ऐसे लोग हैं उनके नेटवर्क में एक ऐसा एक चेन बनाए जिसमें वो
मैं इसका सिर्फ जवाब दे दूँ आपके लिए the greatest resource of Pakistan are the overseas Pakistani. Some of our best minds, some of our best professionals, some of our best entrepreneurs are sitting outside Pakistan. And what we are trying to do is to create that environment for them to come back. Some of them are already back. My finance minister was somewhere in Egypt, where I don't know where you were, Dubai. The other. Raza Bakr, our State Bank president, was in Egypt working for IMF. There's Tania, who was in Singapore, Google. So we already have attracted overseas Pakistanis. And we will keep creating that environment for them to come back because they are our best resource. And I always believe that as we are making it easier and easier for people to do business, the cleaner governance we give our overseas Pakistanis, the highest amount of foreign investment, I believe, will come from overseas Pakistanis, small businesses, small industries. I believe that will be our biggest strength, which will create employment in the country.
Yes, please. Yes.
My name is Khum Shazam. I'm with PTI Switzerland. My question is, first of all, sir, thanks a lot for representing us over here at
Ask the question, please.
As Pakistan's Prime Minister. That's a pride for us. My question is there a plan for the government? Because your vision is clear. You want to make Pakistan a welfare state. You want to make it a social welfare state as well. The strategies are in place. We have new programs which are in place. But what we lack is the implementation on ground. It's the practical implementation of these policies. That is something which you are lacking. So is there a comprehensive plan to make it show? Because there's a lot of dissatisfaction amongst the masses in Pakistan as well and in the overseas communities which we are representing.
Look, I repeat that when you are going through a process of reforms and specifically institutional reforms, you cannot hope that one institution, the moment the government changes, it improves. Especially in our case where it's the first time PTI has been in power at the federal government level. So therefore it is a slow process. As I said, you can destroy an institution immediately, but to build an institution does take time. And especially when, when unfortunately the government institutions were used as giving employment to people. So they're all bloated institutions. I give you an example of our health ministry. We examined the health ministry, and we discovered out of 370 people working in the health ministry, there are only 15 with health background. The rest are all just people given employment there. So it's same with PIA, same with railways. All government corporations have been loaded with these people with no work. And so as we all know that if for one job you have 3 people, no one will work. And this is what we face. And then when we bring the changes in, unfortunately, they go to the courts and get a stay order. There was a case in one of the hospitals, we discovered that in the cardiology institute, the mortality rate was 25%. Out of 125 used to die. So we removed the head of the department. He got a stay order and was there for 6 more months. So it's, there's a whole process of change takes time, because we now, with the new Chief Justice, we are going to sit down and work out how to stop this nonsense where they can all go and whenever you try and remove someone, unless you have a process of hire and fire, incentives and punishment, no institution can work. So whenever you try and fire someone, they go and get a stay order. So anyway, there's a whole process. It's a holistic change, and it will happen. It'll take time.
Aisha, excuse me. Aisha.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Aisha Nawaz Chaudhry. I'm a member of Parliament from Punjab, and I am from the ruling party of PTI. One of the questions that I wanted to ask was that you mentioned Shaukat Khanum and how you did great work and raised money. But one of the things that we've been seeing is that even at Shaukat Khanum, when you were developing it, there was always a cost to doing those events and going around and raising funds. When we want to represent Pakistan internationally, Ikram Sehgal Saab, people like Imran Chaudhry Saab have stood by us and done great work. But should the government not stand up now and do these things and include it in its own cost to represent itself better?
You see, Aisha, I believe that we should save money from spending all these monies on these expos, which are productive. But a country which for the time being is trying to follow a very rigid program of austerity, starting from me. I mean, this visit is almost 10 times less than the previous prime ministers who came here, and the Ikram who came to your show and came up with their pearls of wisdom, but it cost us 10 times more than my visit. So it's an austerity program. But what we feel we should rely on, we have 9 million Pakistanis living abroad, and the GDP of those 9 million Pakistanis, in my opinion, is almost 50% of Pakistan's GDP of 200 million people. So we can use this resource, and they can sponsor things. So I'm all for a conservative. I've stopped all my ministers going on any junkets. I don't allow them to go anywhere. They first, whenever they say I've got a trip somewhere, I immediately cancel it. Then they have to convince me that really it is productive for Pakistan.
I'm Sadaf Abid. I'm a social entrepreneur. Pakistan has under 26% women in its formal economy. IMF has calculated gender parity would add 30% to the GDP. So what I'm interested in knowing is how are you, in your capacity, increasing women's inclusion? Because when women grow, we will all benefit and Pakistan will prosper.
Absolutely, not just women and the Lord. You see, what is the Chinese model? Chinese proved to us that if you raise the bottom people, if you raise the standard up, that's real prosperity. In our case, unfortunately, the skewed development where tiny rich people have a lot of money, and there's this bottom sea of poverty. It doesn't work. No country, in my opinion, can ever prosper with this sort of skewed development. So our SAS program specifically targets women. You have to see it. It's a very comprehensive program developed for rural women, poor women, loans for them, how to graduate them, how to raise the level of income, how to get the this mobile phone, give them apps so that they are empowered by directly the money comes to them. So we've gone a great length to make sure that, our women, especially the women at the bottom of the social ladder, how we can raise them up.
Imran?
Nasim, you answered this question very well. So what I understand from your answer is that when you were not in the government, it was a crowd and things like now that you're in the government, now we have to support the government. So we are there.
For a while, until we become very prosperous.
Okay, one more question. So, the last, after that, the last question, please. Second last question.
Hi, my name is Zehra.
It's on.
My name is Zehra. I'm an education and health specialist working in the World Bank. You spoke earlier very eloquently about
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म इमरान खान डेवोस में मौजूद हैं। पाकिस्तान बिजनेस ब्रेकफास्ट एट डेवोस की तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे हैं और पाकिस्तान की डेवोस की अहम कारोबार।
अच्छा, बाबर जब बांग्लादेश आई थी, जिनका दूसरा दौरा था पाकिस्तान ने उनको बड़ी कन्विंसिंगली जो है वो मार्जिन से हराया था। अब काफ़ी देर के बाद आ रहे हैं, टीम जो है वो भी ज़्यादा यंग है, तो लड़कों का क्या मोटिवेशन है? क्या वही है, वही हम रिपीट करेंगे कारकर्दगी जो हमने इनके दूसरा दौरे में की थी?
जी बिल्कुल, सब काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंस में, काफ़ी अच्छा सब फॉर्म में। जिस तरह बात की थी कि हमने जो प्रैक्टिस मैच खेले हैं सब अपनी अपनी बॉलिंग में सब ने अच्छा किया, बैटिंग में सब ने अच्छा किया, तो काफ़ी अच्छा सारे टच में।
बाबर, एक तो फर्स्ट क्लास थी तो राइट पे
rural women in urban, giving them loans for startups. So we have a whole range of things now. The whole idea is this bottom tier of our society, and specifically women.
Last question. One more question. That's it.
Mr. Prime Minister Adnan Hassan, nice to see you and hear you again.
Last question. Please.
The Pakistani people are resilient but are impatient. And the problems that you've inherited haven't just happened recently, they've taken multiple generations. How do you teach us to be patient as reforms kick in?
It's exactly what Mahathir Mohamad keeps telling Malaysia, be patient. You see, it is, I have to say that it has, as I said, it has been the most difficult 15 months of my life. I have never experienced so many problems on multiple fronts. It's not just one issue, it is just firefighting on so many different fronts. The main thing was, of course, the stabilization of economy. We were worried for a time that we would default on our loans, and the scenario of a default is just it's the ultimate nightmare scenario. So we faced these very difficult times, but then there were all these other problems because, there is a neglect of state institutions. Then we have people at the bottom level, then the education system, then the government corporations which are bleeding. So it wasn't just, it's not facing problems in one domain. But what I feel is that we are getting ready to give people a comprehensive roadmap now. Because we now know what we face. We'll prioritize the problems and the solutions. And we are going to come up with a roadmap telling people that, look, these are the challenges we face. This is how long it will take for us to get out. But there's hope at the end, light at the end of the tunnel. Because Pakistan actually is a very rich country. And I've looked at the other countries. The resources Pakistan has, just one area, tourism. Just imagine Pakistan's, I look at these wonderful mountains here in Switzerland, but I am probably the only Pakistani politician who's been all over Pakistan. Just our northern areas, just the northern areas of Pakistan are twice the size of Switzerland. And the scale of those areas, Switzerland just cannot compete with it. No one knows about it. No one knows about, only now people are discovering, you know. In Condé Nast magazine, Pakistan is now considered the most exciting tourist destination. Why? Because what has happened is we haven't done anything. This mobile phone has done everything. People go on holidays, they take pictures, they put it on their Facebook, and people suddenly realize, is this Pakistan? And so, in 1 year, tourism doubled in Pakistan. 1 year. Just by the mobile phone. So we have not, this is the first time we're concentrated on the tourism sector. Imagine, just to give you the sort of potential we have. We have beach tourism, probably one of the best on the coast, one of the best beach tourism. We have lagoons, totally untouched. We have one of the ancient civilizations, the river, the Indus Valley civilization, 5,000 years old. We have 4 religions have some of the most sacred sites in Pakistan. Buddhism, Sikhism. For Sikhs, the Makkah and Medina is in Pakistan. I didn't even know that. Hinduism, Sufism, the greatest Sufi sites. And then, of course, the northern areas. But no one knows about it. So now, for the first time, we are working out how to sell Pakistan to the tourists. Imagine Malaysia makes $20 billion from tourism. It only relies on beach tourism. Turkey, $40 billion. And this Switzerland makes $80 billion. Our total exports are $24 billion. So imagine the potential we're sitting on. I'm just talking about one. I'm not talking about the minerals. I'm not talking about if we just double our agricultural productivity, where the country can go, about our export, our linkages with China, CPEC, special economic zones, China wanting to relocate the industries because our labor is now much cheaper into. So, I mean, the country is, you know, the possibilities are the sky, and I'm not just a born optimist. Since I've been in power, I realize, you know, we are sitting on a gold mine, and inshallah, this country has great times ahead.
And thank you. I'd like to sum up, please. First of all, Prime Minister, thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in a private-public partnership that you've made a small committee. I'm grateful to Imran, very grateful to Zulfikar Bukhari, and of course, person who's not here, you've never seen. We all set it together. And obviously, we got it down to $68,000, I believe.
No. And 68,000. The previous two ones were $500,000. One was $600,000. My trip to the U.S., the United Nations General Assembly, was $160,000. Zardari did it for $1.4 million. Nawaz Sharif did it for $1.3 million. Even, you know, in Punjabi we call Relu Kata. Khakan Abbasi, he did it for $800,000. So I'm just saying that a country which was accumulating in 10 years, 4 times, they increased our debt 4 times. Look the way the leaders were spending the taxpayers' money.
I'd like to mention that I deliberately put, you have the present and the vision for the future. And both sides of you, I deliberately kept the future of Pakistan. On both sides sitting with you. The reason is we have to believe in our children. We have to believe in our destiny. And the Prime Minister is very right. We have the resources, both material and this thing, we can do it. And Prime Minister, I must also thank, with your permission, my friends like Ross Perot has been here for, I think, 12 years constantly. Thank you for signing down to the tobacco industry and Lloyd Fulson, and thank them. And thank Jeremy for being here. Thank the World Economic Forum team, Andrew Fletcher, who really helped us. And not forget me, who has sleepless nights putting everything together. The thing is, we have now stabilized. We have the resources for the drive. We would like to show you that that is possible. For this event, we brought together from Pakistan a small group of people from our company and a group. And if you permit me, I invite them on the stage to have a group photograph from Pathfinder Group, if they will come up, because they're the ones who put all the $68,000 together.